It's your boy Young Haas, and you now tune in to the Roundtable segment, courtesy of Late Night New York on WACR 90.3 FM. Tune in or get tuned out. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You now tune in to Late Night New York on WACR 90.3 FM. I'm your host, Young Haas. This is a new show we got launching. Shout out to Angela, the station manager, for making it happen. Shout out to Kazali for setting up the play. Shout out to Fahim. Shout out to the whole team. What we got in store for y'all is dope hip hop along with valuable information. So you're gonna have a lot of dope underground artists on the show, as well as entrepreneurs that are gonna go ahead and teach you a thing or two. So what I need y'all to do is sit back, open your ears, pay attention. We got a lot going on. First guest this episode, my man, Jake Palumbo. Tennessee raised, New York made. And right now we about to get into a single, Soul Boy with a Gun. And then we're gonna go into the interview. So without further ado, we're gonna get into my man Jake Palumbo, then we're gonna drop that interview for y'all right now.
My mom died when I was mastering the album. I had to put it on pause while my thoughts soon became more poisonous than talcum. I'm in it for the long haul. I'm a heel that works, baby face that works, heel.
Love me or hate me, there's no middle ground.
Every IRS letter's like a blemish in the T-zone. Still too rich to get a PPP loan. I don't call weeds I don't call weed runs. I was eating Xanax when you were just weed run. Unless it's natural leaf, I don't roll weed blunts.
Get that blunt bill out
I quit passing trees pre-COVID. Never said to vote Biden, never said to get vaccinated. I was focused on grand plans, rap related. Before you try to criticize, it's just another snowflake. Put your damn mask on and try to use a Colgate. All about to get me when I'm trying to live legit, like a multiplayer scheme trying to get me to quit. I grew up loving Tron, but I relate more to Flynn. Still ain't got over Ram dying at the end. You a dirtbag rapper that'll never be respected. The anti-vax idiot'll get us all infected. I never had a flu shot, immune system flawless. Next living stupid trying to act like you lawless. I do believe we free to make our own decisions, but the price of freedom is responsibility. And underground rap is full of white fragility. Live my life on the run, soy boy with a gun. To see the kill Billy with a snoot full of honeybees. Leave me alone, let me tend to my money tree. Suave, the boss, Captain Kirk, Captain Pickard. Sincerely yours, plant-based libtard.
What's good? It's your boy Young Haas, and you now tune in to the first episode of Late Night New York on WACR 90.3 FM. Got to shout out Angela, the station manager, for definitely giving me this opportunity. Got to shout out Kazali for making it happen as well, and the whole team that we're going to be working with or what have you. And it's going to be a lot of things we're doing. We focusing on hip-hop and also be focusing on independent entrepreneurs and independent business owners. And right now, I've got somebody that's involved in both. My man, brother for another mother, Jake Palumbo.
What up, Haas?
What's good, brother? It's been a while,
good to be
man.
here, man.
Yeah, good to see you as well, brother.
Likewise, man. We got a long history.
Yes, long history. About 5-6 years to be
It's been a minute, right?
30th Street.
Yes.
30th Street. Classic building.
Yeah, man. I was on the OG paparazzi
Yes,
TV,
he was.
man.
Yes, he was.
Definitely.
Back when we had the little camera.
Yep. Yes, indeed.
And I appreciate you because you always showed us love. You always made time for us, and you always definitely accommodated us every time we went ahead and got some things done.
Always, man, because being an independent artist is like being a politician. Like you got to factor in time to go make your stops, basically. To shake hands and kiss babies, for lack of a better term.
Definitely.
And that's why any show that wants to give me a platform, I've always been a proponent of. I need to pull up and show face and tell my story, because you never know who those listeners are. There could be one or two people in that audience that night that become a fan or become a listener
for the rest of your life.
And they end up buying a T-shirt, coming to a show, and like you said, becoming a long-time follower. Of course, always. And that's why I'm here today.
Yes, sir. So, and you definitely understand that more than most, so what have you, man. Now, first of all, Spacelab Recordings.
Yep.
What was the inspiration behind it?
Well, Spacelab Recordings was founded in my bedroom in Johnson City, Tennessee, years ago when I was a young man. Basically, like, you know, as a lot of people know, I was born and raised in Tennessee. I moved to Brooklyn 16 years ago. So, I mean, I've kind of been in Brooklyn about half my life. But, you know, where I grew up, there were no record labels to sign you. There was no music industry. Well, there was a music industry, but it was country music. You know, if you were pursuing independent hip hop in Tennessee at the time, like, that was a very easy way to starve to death. So I've always been very do for self. Like, I've never had an illusion of, like, you know, some record label was going to discover me and sign me and give me a check. Like, I always knew I was going to kind of have to work for it. So I was inspired by a lot of different independent labels, from No Limit and Cash Money to, you know, to the most underground 12 inches in New York to E40 and them out on the West Coast. Definitely. Like, you know, I always saw the blueprint of finding your own fan base and you know, basically building your own movement. So I started Spacelab Recordings in my bedroom before I ever even moved to New York. Like, that was just a little imprint to go on the back of the CDs that I was pressing up to hand out at shows and open mics and stuff like that. Now, as time goes on and I move to New York and I get myself established as an artist, I start producing for other artists, and I'm releasing a lot more music, it becomes more of a full-scale record label. And at the same time, as a lot of people know me for my day job, for lack of a better term, you know, I'm a mixing engineer and recording engineer, and, you know, I've been an engineer on a lot of people's records. And I've owned a studio in New York City for over 10 years now. So I'm saying that to say that when I opened up a studio, I've already been waving this Spacelab banner and got merch and everything like that. That, you know, it just kind of became the umbrella for everything I do. Copy. So, you know, Spacelab will exist as long as I exist.
That's dope. That's dope. Now, you coming from the South, right? It's definitely a different perspective.
Sure.
When it comes to independence. Because, like, growing up here, you know, we got the record labels right down town. So everybody...
Literally, like, if you live in New York, you can take the train to 42nd Street and go hang out outside Def Jam.
Definitely.
And try to harass somebody into listening to your music. You know, where I lived, like, that wasn't even remotely an option. So that's one thing about the South, is because the South did not have access, that forced the South to do for self. And, like, you always hear the term out the trunk. And that's really what it was. It was people pressing up their own music, going to flea markets, to, you know, to clubs, to, you know, wherever people congregate, and trying to spread the word about their music, booking their own shows, and just going town to town.
Now, I say that to say, do you think that made you a better businessman in the long run?
1,000%. 1,000%. Because everything I've ever done, I've had to do for self. So never having an illusion that somebody was going to come along and help me, like, that pretty much forced me every day to be like, I got to get up and hustle if this thing's going to work. So no, at the time it was happening, I didn't like it, of course. I was like, yo, if I just lived in LA or New York or, you know, wherever. But in hindsight, like, it was a blessing in disguise, because not having access to those kind of resources, you know, built a very tenacious work ethic.
Definitely. So when you did come to New York and get settled, and you saw how everything was, as far as, like, everybody, you know, just, you know, everybody up here at the time, they want to get a record deal. They want to get a record deal. Did you feel that you was kind of like a few steps ahead of a lot of the artists that was up here? Right?
Well, it's weird. Now I feel that way. At the time, I didn't, because you got to understand, like, at the time, you see people getting signed and, you know, everybody's flexing, you know, a lot of that flashy label stuff. You feel like they're ahead of you. But then what ends up happening is that as time goes on and the record business starts to crumble, and the traditional music industry as we knew it before starts to crumble, a lot of those artists that had deals are not prepared for that. And they're not doing well in today's current state. Whereas the artists who were always independent, who always, I call it, today's artist is basically the lemonade stand. Like, every artist has got their own little lemonade stand where they sell their lemonade. And your lemonade is your music, your merch, your T-shirts, your shows, your social media experience, like the whole package of being an artist. And before there was always like this wall in between artists that were signed and artists that were not signed. And that wall has been shattered.
Definitely.
So now it's more just a matter of how well does this artist operate their lemonade stand. Mm-hmm. So with that said, with a lot of artists struggling to adapt to this new music business, this is all I've ever known. So, it's like, bro, this is a normal day for me. Like, yeah, I got to get up and mail these CDs and answer all these Instagram comments and, send 5 more emails to DJs. And, I'm just, that's how it always was. So at the time, I didn't feel like I was ahead of the game. But in hindsight, I guess
you definitely
I was.
Now, let me ask you. So it goes to my next question. And we was talking about it briefly before.
Right.
You have certain indie artists who have good numbers, high numbers, or what have you, and they kind of feel like, they have high streaming numbers, but they're not seeing the money that they need, that they think they should see,
right,
financially.
Well, the streaming thing is a very complicated issue, and I will be honest. Like when streaming first came on to our consciousness, I had the same opinion that a lot of artists do. I'm like, well, they're ripping us off. They're not paying us enough. I got caught up in the complaining about it. Mm-hmm. Now, what's basically happened is we got to understand one thing, is that the wants of the consumer are always going to win out over the needs of the content creators.
Facts.
Because, in the same way that most people would rather pay $9.99 a month for Netflix and watch whatever they want to watch as many times as they want to watch it, instead of having to cop every movie or show that they want to watch.
Yeah.
Music fans feel the same way about streaming. I would rather pay $9.99 a month and be able to listen to everything. So I'm saying that to say that because streaming is not going away, I took the attitude of, do I want to complain about this or do I want to figure out how to make it work for me? So with that said, the key thing to remember about streaming is that it's not so much a money maker as it's a fan builder. Now, I reject the notion that streaming doesn't pay at all because, I'm currently making $400 to $500 a month off streaming. Now that's for my whole catalog, but that's money I can pay a bill with. Like that's not buy a house money, but that's money that I can pay a bill with.
Something coming in.
So now the thing is a lot of people's bad streaming deals are subject to the terms of the record deal that they're under. Because if you have a 15% artist deal, guess what? Yeah, that streaming money is going to be nothing. But I'm saying this to say is that the same way that like back in the day, you know how back in the day they used to say artists didn't make money off CD sales, they made money from touring and merchandise and all that? That same blueprint pretty much exists in the streaming world, whereas the streaming is a fan builder. And once you've built those fans, then it's up to you to sell them a T-shirt or a physical CD or a vinyl or tickets to your show, or if they rap too, they want to get a feature verse from you, or find some other way to monetize it. Because here's the thing, streaming is able to do for an artist something that no record label, no manager, no PR agent, nobody else can do, and that is algorithmically insert your music into the news feed of people who have similar listening tastes. So like when I'm on my Spotify, right? Your phone is spying on you all the time. Like we know this. So my Spotify is taking data of what songs I listen to, what songs I skip, what songs I play over and over, the other artists I like, and it basically steals all that data from you to get a really close notion of what you like to listen to. And I was skeptical at first because I was like, why am I going to put this on shuffle? Like I'm a man who knows music. I know what's hot, But every time I hit shuffle, whatever it plays, I like. And that's because it's collected so much data on what I listen to. So I'm saying all that to say that streaming is able to do that for the independent artist, meaning that now it's not going to happen overnight, because what a lot of people don't necessarily realize is that the streaming monster feeds on content.
That's a fact.
So if you're dropping a single once a month, it's going to show you more favoritism than an artist who drops something once every 3 years. Because they're like, oh, they're giving us content. We're going to show this music to other people who might have similar tastes. And that's PR and promo that, like, trust me, in 15 years of doing this professionally, like, I've hired a bunch of different PR people, and none of them can algorithmically insert my music into, people who listen to music similar to Jake Palumbo. Mm-hmm. So, my most recent record, Plant-Based Libtard, is performing better at streaming than a lot of my previous projects, and that's because we took time to set it up, meaning that, every 4 weeks prior to the record coming out, there was a new single dropping. Like, we're reappearing inside the algorithm again.
Copy.
And so, we're getting close to 500,000 spins on Spotify alone in 5 months.
That's dope.
And whereas like 3 years ago, that probably would have been about 40 or 50,000 in 5 months.
So, it goes to my next question.
Yeah.
What do you think was the difference between the newer record,
right,
and all your other records?
Well, that was 1 year of setup because, right before I dropped Plant-Based Libtard, as a producer, I dropped the Solving Cases album with El Da Sensei.
I remember, yeah.
Which, El's got a 25-year name in hip-hop, so obviously doing an album with him, helped open me up to some people who didn't know I existed before. But when me and El did that record, we did the same blueprint. We dropped 3 singles before the record came out that were on the album. We dropped the 4th single the day the record came out. And every time we're dropping these singles, we're also pitching for playlists. And, you're not going to get every playlist you pitch for. Like, I land about maybe 1 out of every 5 or so. But I'm saying that to say that over time, once the algorithm is just artificial intelligence. It just knows that if it keeps seeing your name and if it keeps seeing activity and you're constantly dropping music, that it knows that it should probably show you favor. So I'm saying all that to say that we had a pretty good success with that record doing that blueprint. So after 9 months of that, when it's time for me to then drop my solo album, I'm making sure that, a couple months prior, I'm dropping 3 singles. And, and following that up and doing these same pitches. And it's giving me much better results.
It's a successful blueprint.
So I'm saying all that to say that, I have collectively between Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all the social networks, like, I have maybe about 30 to 40,000 followers online. I don't have 500,000. So for me to be getting that uptick in streaming means that my music is being heard outside of people that are normally Jake Palumbo fans. Yeah. Right. So, again, this is PR that I can't get anywhere else.
Because of streaming.
Because of streaming. So that's why I'm not super quick to hate on streaming right off the bat. Because, again, it's good for the consumer. So because of that, it's never going to go away. So it's like, do I want to be mad at it, or do I want to find a way to make that work for me? Now, the last thing I'll say on that is that while all that's happening, I'm still physically, I was literally yesterday at the post office shipping off CDs, because, like, if a lot of the fans are just going to stream it, cool. But then you've got those 250 hardcore fans that are going to spend $15 on the CD. And, 250 CDs don't cost that much to press up. So you're still going to have that core audience that actually really wants to support you somehow. Whether it's in a CD, a T-shirt, they come to a show, they invite you to host their party, they rap to and they want 16 bars on their song, whatever it is. Maybe they need their music mixed. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a million ways that people can support.
It creates more opportunities.
More opportunities. Exactly.
So basically, you're saying not the, because most artists are just, especially you're independent artists, you're thinking, okay, I gotta recoup. You're just thinking about the here and now, and you're basically saying, no, it's a bigger picture to this. Utilize this as a stepping stone, and once you get these streams popping, then it's going to lead to opportunities in 5, 6, 7 different areas where you could generate different streams of income.
Exactly. And, you got to understand, too, like, you've always got to be willing to give people a sample of what they're getting before they're expected to spend money on it. So, I'm just, and again, this is kind of a 2-year experiment that has been executed, but I'm going to continue doing it just because it's the cheapest way to promote. Like, because the thing, if any artist has ever hired PR people before, they cost the same amount of money whether they have good success with your thing or not.
You're definitely paying the same.
And the thing is a PR person can actually, go really hard and break a sweat to try to promote you, and then Jay-Z and West Side Gun both drop an album that same week, and there's just not space for you in the pages that month. You know what I mean? So I'm saying that to say that, like, knowing that it's not going away, it has ended up becoming one of the cheapest ways of PR that I've found.
So now, let's get into the second single off that you've dropped so far.
Let's see. That's most recent single is Big Top Clown Circus featuring Craig G from the legendary Juice Crew.
How did you pull him? How were you able to pull him on the track?
I actually met Craig because we were both on a song together. Cuba on the Beat, Super Rhyme Makers. It was a posse cut with 5 or 6 people on it, and me and Craig were both on that song. And I met him at the video shoot. And then, a lot of my relationships with artists I've worked with have came from the studio.
Copy.
Because I have a studio and, people need their music recorded, mixed, mastered, whatever it is. A lot of times I end up starting out as the engineer. And then, when you've had a good session with somebody, it's a much easier transition for me to be like, yo, I can play you some beats. Yeah, like, yo, definitely. This is my project I'm working on. You want to jump on something? So it just started.
Me and you have had that.
I was about to say that's how we linked up. So I just parlay my relationships. So I was on a song with Craig, and then that led to him getting in the studio, and then he just ended up jumping on the album, and we shot the video. The video came out maybe about 3 weeks ago. So
and you're definitely gonna see it on Paparazzi TV as well. Before we go ahead and get into that song. And you gave us a whole lot of information.
Word.
If you were talking to up-and-coming independent artists right now, what's the most important thing? What are the 3 of the most important things that he or she needs to do to go ahead and be successful?
First of all, understand that it is a long game. All the successful, cool things that happened to me in rap happened after 30. So, I wouldn't trade where I'm at now to be 25 again, for anything. So I'm saying that to say that, like, it is very much a long game. And a lot, more often than not, the people that have longevity in the music business are the people who outlast everyone else. Because I hate to say it, like, a lot of people are going to give up and quit. Like, very few of our peers are going to, make it to the same finish line. So, understand that, like, for very few of us, they always say, it takes 10 years to be an overnight success. And, like, for most of us, that's going to be the case. So, A, be patient. B, I would completely focus on building your own audience. Because the thing is that in today's climate, no label is going to be interested in you anyway if you don't already have your own audience.
That's a fact.
And the thing is if you've already got your own audience, then you can eat off your own audience, and you don't necessarily have to worry about a label. So very much focus on just building your own little ecosystem. Because as long as your fans and your listeners and the people that actually care about what you do, as long as they're tuned in, it doesn't matter if the music industry thinks you're popping or not. You know what I mean? Like, none of that matters. So I would say, too,
you got a core audience already.
Make sure that you cultivate your own audience and ecosystem. And 3, I would just say the business part of being in the music business will drive you insane, and it is full of all kinds of hurdles and obstacles that don't really occur in other industries. So with that said, make sure that you continue to have fun doing music. Because if I wasn't thoroughly enjoying myself doing music, I would have a job with benefits and I would be off on Friday and Saturday. I would have paid vacation and you know what I'm saying? Like and again, I'm very happy with where I'm at and I'm comfortable, but that 15 years of almost starving to death to get to that point, like that's a very hard time. So, if I hadn't thoroughly enjoyed making music and the experience of getting to see everything come to life and come to fruition and being able to show other people that, hey, I'm just like you. I didn't have any connects either. I didn't have no money behind me.
So crazy already.
And I'm able to exist in my own little world here. You can too. It's very important to make sure you're having fun with this, because if you're not enjoying the making music part of this, then there's no point to drive yourself crazy.
That's you make sure you have fun. Have to have a passion for it. You gotta have a passion for anything you do. So if you don't have a passion for this, then you're wasting your time with doing this anyway. Because you do have people who look at this as just a quick little hustle nowadays, and think they could get in and out and not understanding. Like, no, this is like, you're not Cardi B. You're not No, this is, you actually have to do the legwork. You actually have to
there's a lot of sweat.
There's you have to lay a foundation here in order to be successful.
Right.
So, with that saying, we're gonna go ahead and get into this new single with Craig G. So introduce that to the people and tell them where to find you at.
Word. This is Big Top Clown Circus, featuring Craig G off the new album Plant-Based Libtard. You can find me at jakepalumbo.com. That's JakePalumbo. And I'm on all social media at Jake Palumbo. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, the whole nine. So you can find me everywhere.
We appreciate you, man. This was
appreciate you having me, man. Always a good build.
My man Jake Palumbo. Shout out to Paparazzi TV. Shout out to the Carbon Juice Lounge, our first sponsor as well. You could go ahead and check them out. They're located 2nd Avenue between 110th and 111th Street in Harlem, East Harlem to be exact. So you could go ahead and get your juices, get your tonics and everything as well. And we're going to get into Big Top Circus, WACR 90.3 FM. It's your boy Young Haas. Let's get it.
Rap now is a circus of clowns. Take that with you on the way down.
What's up, man? What's up, man? Jake Palumbo. Craig G. Craig, what up? What's up, man? Young dinosaur, seasoned troubadour, young gunner, Arkansas, Dave Rudaball. Rudimentary, 4/10 a century, 13 years of independence, you should mention me. People said they wanted, I was always doing more. Man, I got it on my own, nobody got me through the door. I accomplished all of that with mental illness and a drug problem. Your apartment got a bug problem. We either talk or do the Rugas. Organic pescatarian, you eat food from hooligans. Make my collard greens, please don't put no ham in it. Stage telling shorty that we good without a lamb in it. Shawshank Redemption, I will get it with a chisel. You sold the steak, you did not sell the sizzle. Sex pistol, great rock and roll swindle. Call my words on a tablet like an Amazon Kindle. What's
when
up?
Jake and Craig spit it, it feels like you found purpose. The rap game's the big top, we hate the clown circus. The frequency is peaking, watch the way we drown circuits. Rising to the top, the only way to sound surface. When Jake and Craig spit it, feels like you found purpose. The rap game's the big top, we hate the clown circus. The frequency is peaking, watch the way we drown circuits. Rising to the top, the only way to sound surface.
Quick fall and stumble, Craig G, Jake Palumbo. For white collar criminals, cats that serve bundles. I see you mesmerized by sun, so watch me flare up like the diamonds on my neck of Jake's $50 haircut. Backstage smoking that funk, I'm antisocial. I keep a fake number to give the music hopefuls. Hold up, you're saying too much, you're gonna blow up. Without the alterations to have the game sold up. Archie Bunker, Al Bundy, 4 touchdowns in one game. Better duck for cover, I'm accurate when the gun aims. Never trick on dumb dames. Me, I like to shun fame. Keep that hype to yourself, not interested in lung pain. Yours must be hurting cause you speak a mile a minute. I ain't respond once and you still don't know your limits. Every time I go out, people be ruining my high. And that's why I'm the master of the Irish goodbye. When Jake and Craig spit it, it feels like you found purpose. The rap game
game's the big top. We hate the clown circus. The frequency is peaking. Watch the way we drown circuits. Rising to the top, the only way to sound surface. When Jake and Craig spit, it feels like you found purpose. The rap game's the big top. We hate the clown circus. The frequency is peaking. Watch the way we drown circuits. Rising to the top, the only way to sound surface.
Rap now with a circus of clowns.
Cause I don't play clown.
Rap now with a circus of clowns.
Cause I don't play clown.
Rap now with a circus.
Cause I don't play clown.
Rap now with a circus.
Cause I don't play clown.
Yo, what up? This is Jake Palumbo, Spacelab NYC, and you are tuned in to Late Night New York, WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem.
For more than 6,000 years, the art of cutting hair has been practiced as a craft.
Is this haircut money? When the PayPal hits, I go and get a $50 haircut. When the PayPal hits and I make my hits and I make my chips and I eat my grits and I blaze my pip, I go and get a $50 haircut. Razor finish, great precision. I'm the kind of jerk to do a song to let you know I got a $50 haircut. Everywhere I go, they asking who my plug, who I'm buzz. Man, I really wish I had your $50 haircut. 30 plus, I'm dirty hush. Thank you very much. I'm just a handsome hillbilly with a $50 haircut. Clapbacks will wax my passion. Snapbacks are not my fashion. With a mop like this, you get top like this and whop, it's lots of action. Riptide, no Joe Penny. Play the cheese, room temperature Henny. Polo on credit, my preference is met. Reckless, so I call it leveraging debt. Phone bill I pay to pass through. Don't recall nobody asked you. You can bet on yourself too, but you don't have the cash. If she thick and she listen to dubstep, I'm coming over with a plan B, one step closer to piles of paper. When he cut my fade, please mind the taper. Factuals, axiom, everything to the maximum. Backpack rap is really dumb, so I get lifted helium. At Ruby Tuesday on a Tuesday, catch a movie with a floozy. She my roomie at the Doubletree Jacuzzi. Cause I've been getting nude sent since we got porn from Usenet. These fools have not a clue how many dues a dude spent. At the gym, but I built my locker. Greatest MC of all time, Silk the Shocker. Built to prosper, get my pasta. Expensive lobster, drive a Honda. When the PayPal hits and I make my hits and I make my chips and I eat my grits and I blaze my pip, I go and get a $50 haircut. Razor finish, great precision. I'm the kind of jerk to do a song to let you know I got a $50 haircut. Everywhere I go, they asking who my plug, who I'm buzz. Man, I really wish I had your $50 haircut. 30 plus, I'm dirty hush. Thank you very much. I'm just a handsome hillbilly with a $50 haircut. Thug rants on wax my passion. Snug pants are not my fashion. With a mop like this, you get top like this and whop, it's lots of action. Ripcord, jumping out of airplane. FM dial, jumping out the airwaves. Touchdown, baggage claim. Nothing that I do is ever average, man. So don't believe everything that you read in the news. Who's the dude? Is he confused? Boom bap trap with a southern accent, but he a crate digging sample bastard. With an ample prowess, ramble hours, trample coward. Polo on credit, don't look at the label. I think he threw up on the dining room table. Hot damn, chitty chitty bang bang. Nick Van Dyke when I'm getting all my ends main. Insane tabernacle, hi-hats cut through your Adam's apple. Grab a snapple, toast to the last days. Long way since digging in the ashtray. About all my bars are truthful, and my haircut is crucial. One guard tapered, fade to skin. Pass say Jack, I play to win. World 8, I play to the end. Covered the tab and I'm dusting the wind. Levy wine and a pearl necklace, all part of this balanced breakfast. Wild and reckless, diamond records. Gotta smile the size of Texas. When the PayPal hits and I make my hits and I make my chips and I eat my grits and I blaze my pip, I go and get a $50 haircut. Razor finish, great precision. I'm the kind of jerk to do a song to let you know I got a $50 haircut. Everywhere I go, they asking who my plug, who I'm buzz. Man, I really wish I had your $50 haircut. 30 plus, I'm dirty hush. Thank you very much. I'm just a handsome hillbilly with a $50 haircut.
As members of a civilized society, we are concerned with our appearance before others, a look of health and youth. But when you're on your way to meet your best girl, it's worth all the trouble.
Once again, shout out to my man Jake Palumbo. Appreciate him for coming out. He gave y'all all the information. Follow him on all social media platforms. And once again, we gotta show him love, show him the utmost respect for pulling up and giving us the knowledge that he gave us. Now we're going to, switch it up a little bit, going to R&B, but we still keeping it down south. We going to Mississippi. My man, Jay Adams, tonight. Young boy's 20 years old, R&B singer, dope, incredible. Shout out to his CEO, Big G, from Motherland Entertainment, for putting me on to the young brother, and we're going to go ahead and support him. We got to support young people. We got to support indie artists in general. So we're going to get into it. Jay Adams tonight, right here.
How you ladies doing?
I love you, Sarah.
Have you ever wanted a man to tell you what he gonna do? Word, I know that's what you like. I want you tonight. Cause tonight's tonight. I'ma tell you how I feel. These are plans for you. Alright. Yeah, baby, tonight I want to make you feel so right. I'm finna go crazy all over you, and I can tell you want me to. Yeah, baby, tonight I want to make you feel so right. I'm finna go crazy all over you. Girl, this is between me and you. Yeah. These feelings, these passions have me wanting more. Didn't know they came, or was it just a fluke? Thought it was fake, but when I saw you, it just rose more and more. Baby, it's like your body knew it too. Girl, I ain't for no wasting time. Don't play me, cause when it's mine, you better know it's mine. Choose, come on, let's do what's on my mind. You know what I'm thinking, babe. So listen, here's the plan. Put it on my face, call it FaceTime. Let my taste but do the talking. Make some all foes like you crawling, babe. Cause after ain't no walking. Come on, take a ride on this train. Full steam ahead, ain't no stopping. I told you, girl, I'm insane. I don't play no games, yeah, girl, I'm about it. I'll break it down, construction. Like a blueprint, I know my way around. Just beat it up like Tyson. Got the night, it's the last round. The way you're moaning my name, it's like a melody on Max Vibe. The way you make it rain in this thing. We'll have the weatherman come ask about it. I want to make you feel so right. I'm finna go crazy all over you. Going crazy now, and I can tell you want me to. Cause baby, tonight I want to make you feel so right. I'm finna go crazy all over you. Girl, this is between me and you. Yeah, I want you tonight. Ain't no wasting time. Trying to make you feel alive. Cause tonight's the night, yeah. I want you tonight. Ain't no wasting time. Trying to make you feel alive. Cause tonight's the night, yeah. Get you so wet that I buy some more covers, yeah. The way you run your fingers through my head, commanding your body like Simon says. The way we moving all on this bed. Grind on me, baby, that's what you said. When you handle this pressure, you can't be scared. To make you feel so right. I'm gonna go crazy all over you. Going crazy now, and I can tell you want me to. Cause baby, tonight I want to make you feel so right. I'm gonna go crazy all over you. Girl, this is between me and you. Yeah. Ain't no wasting time.
I don't waste time.
Ain't no wasting time.
You know this.
I'm back in my mode again. I'm back in my mode again. I'm back in my bag again. Back I'm about to kill it. Back in the kitchen, about to whiz. Open one time, nice beach. Cost a lot of money for the feature. My fucking bitch, my sneakers. Falling on my hip like a beeper. All these diamonds in my rear watch. Still from hoes up the TikTok. My fucking bitch, my flip flops. Beat the people up like a B-box. Open one time, nice beach. Cost a lot of money for the feature. My fucking bitch, my sneakers. Falling on my hip like a beeper. All these diamonds in my rear watch. Still fucking hoes up the TikTok. My fucking bitch, my flip flops. Beat the people up like a B-box. Drop phone ringing out the hood. I can read it like a book. She ain't coming home, she too. Backseat slapping on the butt. All these diamonds ain't drippin', ain't it? Lips of hustle blue, she crippin', ain't it? I don't look cap another ship. Daycare bustin' on the lip. Mirror grill ballin', now I'm dunking on them. Lot of toe steppin', now I'm walking on them. Push pull up, yeah, I'm flexing on them. Something like a god, how I'm blessing on them. Something like a pimp without the limb. Y'all some pee-wees, y'all scrimps. My diamond shining real hard. Y'all chicken looking real dim. Got a lot of ink like a pen. Y'all niggas who never win. Tired of these like the white folks. Not save, I'm no hero. Doing on the scan like the Lego. Taking shit like I'm Debo. Y'all niggas cool with being zeros. Snatch a bitch up, that's a repo. Open one time, a nice beach. Cost a lot of money for the feature. My fucking bitch, my sneakers. Falling on my hip like a beeper. All these diamonds in my rear watch. Still from hoes up the TikTok. My fucking bitch, my flip flops. Beat the people up like a B-box. Open one time, a nice beach. Cost a lot of money for the feature. My fucking bitch, my sneakers. Falling on my hip like a beeper. All these diamonds in my rear watch. Still fucking hoes up the TikTok. My fucking bitch, my flip flops. Beat the people up like a B-box. I'm back in my mode. I'm back in my mode. I'm back in my bag again. Back on my shit, about to kill it. Back in the kitchen, about to whip. Kicking my flay, let it get it. Open one time, nice beach. Cost a lot of money for the feature. My fucking bitch, my sneakers. Falling on my hip like a beeper. All these diamonds in my rear watch. Still from hoes out the TikTok. My fucking bitch, my flip flops. Beat the people up like a B-box. Open one time, a nice beach. Cost a lot of money for the feature. My fucking bitch, my sneakers. Falling on my hip like a beeper. All these diamonds in my rear watch. Still fucking hoes out the TikTok. My fucking bitch, my flip flops. Beat the people up like a B-box.
That was my man SB Surf reppin' that Memphis 10. Shout out to him, shout out to Drought King Music. We gonna close it out. We appreciate everybody that supported us and made this happen. Shout out to Jake Palumbo, my spotlight interview guest, and we gonna get to Anne Marie, straight out of Long Island, incredible artist. We gonna sign out.
Hate that you want me. You love when I'm horny. You know this one to be true. 'Cause I keep on coming over like, hello, how was your day? Do you need a break? Do you need me to sit back, relax? You need a couple takes, couple shakes. You know how this pussy tastes. I know I'm the only one that makes you feel you trusting me, baby, I feel you touching me. You don't want me to leave, baby, I feel you fucking me. Baby, I feel you all in me. You don't want me to leave. You hate that you want me. You love when I'm horny. You know this one to be true. 'Cause I keep on coming over like, I might have to fall back before I get attached. Before my expectations hit the wall and then we crash. Did you tell your niggas I'm your girl? Tell your mama I'm your world.